I am Master of the TDS.
I'm WritingRaven.
We have 3 topics for you from the past week in one video. A synopsis of the Psycho.
A Psycho-Synopsis. First up is the Acolyte. Again. All right, who's coming in this time?
I am here, and I am queer.
Oh no. Why do you keep coming here? I was pretty clear last time that we can't work with you.
I wanted to remind you that it's June, so it doesn't matter if my show is the gayest Star Wars ever. You're not allowed to complain about it.
You're delusional.
Or maybe you're just a bigot.
Do I have to call security on you?
No, I'll go. I have to help lesbians conceive using the Force. Also, R2-D2 is now canonically a lesbian. Bye!
And don't come back!
Critics are praised for liking Star Wars The Acolyte, set in the High Republic era, but the show is criticized for not being innovative and for relying on familiar Star Wars elements, with many suggesting that its focus on diversity might be driving its positive reception.
Yeah, no.
It's so positive that at one point it was actually, in regards to the audience score, it was a 27% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is the lowest ever for any Star Wars product.
Now, Rotten Tomatoes is not reliable, we know this, but it's important to look at it because they try to protect it, and what we see is that there's a giant discrepancy between the audience score and the critic score.
As usual.
Of course, they're claiming it's a review bomb, but it's not always the case. There's always review bombing on both sides. That's why people don't buy the narrative.
Seriously, get it through your heads. Not to mention the fact that their heads are empty, with them writing fire burning in space.
But there's always been fire in space. There was when the Death Star exploded.
And then once all the air ran out, it ran out and was sucked into the vacuum of space. That fire immediately disappeared.
Nuh-uh, you're a bigot, nuh-uh.
Science, people! You always say follow the science!
Are you missing the point of Star Wars?
Give me the writing, let me take it over, please.
Aside from the stupid fire in space debate, which again, fans used to talk about things. Even if it's a sci-fi show or movie or whatever, fans talk. It's okay to have disagreements. You can believe that there's fire in space. You're wrong, but you can believe it.
That's the point of fiction. It's supposed to make sense.
Another thing is, we have to recognize one of the things that Leslie Headland, the former personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, was getting backlash on was that there was a clip that came out of her, and I think it was Amanda Stenberg, talking about how The Acolyte is the gayest Star Wars ever.
And they said that like it was something to celebrate.
And then made a joke about how R2-D2's and C-3PO are a couple, and R2-D2's canonically a lesbian, and whatever.
Why do friends always have to be made into couples?
Now, spoiler for anybody who is going to continue to watch The Acolyte after the first 2 episodes. Okay? Spoiler alert.
You've been warned. Ready? The Force is actually female now.
Yes, so apparently they're going to have like Immaculate Conception with 2 women who are lesbians. Now, the issue with this is that primarily it makes Anakin his birth completely irrelevant and not special at all.
Yeah, pretty much. Not to mention the making the Force a female entity that impregnates women. That's not how reproduction works.
It's stupid. Here's the thing. Just make a good show. It's okay if it's cheesy, but please at least try. These people aren't trying. People have said they must be doing this on purpose, and I'm inclined to agree because I can't imagine that they're doing this and being like, yep, this is going to be successful. We're going to get 3 to 5 new people who are just going to come in for diversity alone.
That was Doctor Who. But then again, this show is currently doing current Doctor Who numbers.
Yeah, so it got a 4.8 million people on the first 24 hours. Something I wanted to bring up, though, is that we can remember that some people got a sneak peek of these episodes in theaters after watching The Phantom Menace when it was re-released. I wonder if those numbers contribute to the 24 hours. I would wonder. I'm
inclined to agree.
Not to mention that 4.8 million is also only about 3% of the people who subscribe to Disney Plus, so it ain't a win, Disney.
Not at all. Next up is...
We have Venom.
Okay, I guess we're discussing Venom.
You look tasty.
I'm not on the menu. What brings you here today?
Well, we've been told this is our last movie. And before that happens, I think Eddie and I have some things to work out.
Such as?
How many humans I can eat per day. And whether or not we're canon in the MCU. I want to eat Tom Holland, Spider-Man. Although, if I'd like some dark meat, I can always eat some Miles Morales instead.
Do not laugh. Do not laugh. Follow me.
You take us to all the greatest places.
The first trailer for Venom: The Last Dance has been released, featuring Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock facing a massive symbiote alien and government agents in the final installment of the trilogy, set to release on October 25th.
And it actually looks good.
Now, I've only seen the first Venom movie.
Same. We do still have to see Let There Be Carnage.
Look, I'm not a huge fan of these Sony movies without Spider-Man, but they do some things in this that do interest me.
For example, Venom possessing a horse.
It looked a little cheesy at first, but I'm kind of cool with it.
I mean, for me, it was just like, monster horse, monster horse, monster horse, monster horse, yeah, monster horse!
Yes, we get it. You're easily entertained.
What?
You saw him eating people and you were immediately sold.
Duh.
We're going to get Kraven the Hunter or whatever. I'm glad they're stopping with Venom. I would love to see Venom fight Spider-Man. Just throwing it out there. So the first Venom movie was awesome. Second one I heard was not that good. That's why we didn't go see it. I don't really have that much interest in seeing this. I'm not opposed to it, but I really think these Sony movies without Spider-Man need to stop. Can we just get more Spider-Man? Can we see Spider-Man fight Kraven the Hunter, fight all these people? Why do you have to make movies on side characters?
Because they don't have full rights to Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm getting tired of superhero movies in general. I'm excited for Deadpool versus Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine.
Who isn't?
But other than that, I have no interest in seeing any of these movies or shows. I just don't.
Yeah, same. After Deadpool and Wolverine, there will not be a good Marvel movie ever again. I guarantee it.
Look, we all want these things to do better, but Sony at least was trying at first, but then they kind of just phoned it in, and it shows, and it's like, please stop. We don't need these anymore. Like, they moved Kraven because, and this is a quote from them, they moved it because they wanted to have it be on the holidays so people can go to it multiple times.
Yeah, I don't buy that. It's more like they know this movie's going to be bad, so they're pushing it off as far as possible so that they can, try to work with what they have. I don't know how you work with what you have. Make him actually Kraven and make him actually hunt animals, not people.
Or here's a cool idea. Leak that get Tom Holland to come in, or Andrew Garfield, or Tobey Maguire. Just have them make an appearance. Just that alone will boost the amount of people who will come to your movie.
By a lot. I mean, just look what No Way Home did.
Hell, even put Madam Web in there. Put Sydney Sweeney in there. Go ahead.
I mean, people love Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, for multiple reasons. But look, I don't want to see these movies anymore. This one looks okay. We'll have to wait and see. But we can need this trend with side character movies. Can we just not?
Please.
Most of the time, it ruins the characters.
Just make it stop. And lastly is Gravity Falls. I thought that ended 10 years ago.
Hey there! Looks like I'm no longer a statue.
Bill Cipher?
That's me. I like the decor in here. The like and subscribe picture is a good touch. Nice fourth wall break.
Thanks, I guess. What are you doing here?
Well, I've been feeling a little stiff lately, almost like I've been a statue for the past few years, so I thought I'd get a massage real quick.
We're not that kind of therapy office.
Really? Well, that's a shame. I thought this could be a you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing. I've been real stressed since we are in talks with Disney to bring back the show. That mouse is a handful. It's like making a deal with me, but worse. But hey, not my problem.
Well, we don't do massages, but we can help you relieve some of that stress.
Excellent! How about a deal? As payment?
No.
Disney is in discussion with Gravity Falls creator Alex Hirsch about reviving the popular animated series, with Executive Vice President Meredith Roberts confirming ongoing talks and expressing hope for a potential comeback.
This will either be really good or really bad. I'm inclined to think more really bad.
So, Gravity Falls is a kind of more childish cartoon. It's very good.
Very good is an understatement.
If you're someone who likes good stories, I would recommend watching it. It's actually quite good. My wife and I have watched both seasons. It's great. It's important to point out that this is a show that was made under Disney. And even when Alex Hirsch was with Disney for about 10 years ago or whatever and doing this kind of stuff, he literally had where he was being censored by Disney. He apparently wanted to make some of the characters more LGBTQ friendly. I'm not really a fan of that personally, but you know what? It's his project. He can do what he wants.
That is true. And at the time, Disney apparently was not okay with that.
Now I'm a little concerned because I worried that they'll be not only okay with it, they'll push it to the next gear.
Beyond that, really.
Nobody cares if there is LGBTQ people or diverse people in films or in movies or shows. The difficulty or the problem, I would say, with it is that they make them front and center stage, and that's the only reason. It's like, watch this because we have this diverse character. How about the story? How about the plot?
And, what else is good about it? What themes that aren't diverse and inclusive can you give us?
It's like a marketing thing. And I honestly, if I was an LGBTQ person, I would be really offended every time they do this because they literally are not making anything better for them. They're making it into a huge issue, and that doesn't normalize it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actual gays can agree.
Yeah, we know a couple people. We have friends, shocking. We have LGBTQ plus friends, and they don't shove it in our faces.
Wow, how surprising.
All we want, if you want to be treated like a normal person and you want to see yourself on screen, I'm not a huge fan. I don't think you need to see yourself on screen to identify, but do you?
Just don't shove it down everyone else's throats, because that will not make anyone tolerate anything.
Just put it in there and don't make a fuss about it. You don't hear anybody going, attention, please watch this movie because there's a white person in it. We don't care.
Yeah, but I do wonder how they're going to bring it back. Are Mabel and Dipper going to be older? Are Grunkle, Stan, and Ford still going to be alive? Is Wendy married to the emo kid whose parents run the funeral home?
I don't think they will, because remember at the end he kind of gets caught for doing something terrible.
Oh, right, he did get arrested.
We're not trying to spoil it for you. It's a good show. If you haven't watched it already, go watch it. It's worth it.
I did think it hilarious that the people who in charge of the funeral home were the happiest people on earth. That was so funny to me.
I like this show. I don't want to see it go as everything else does. And look, we could be eating our words. First off, we have no guarantee that this will happen. And if it does happen, it could be actually very good and pick up right where we left off.
Yeah, that would be nice.
It would be a really cool thing. There's an entity called Bill Cipher in it. You've seen him from the waiting room thing. At the end, he turns into a statue. Not going to explain how, but his hand is out and he makes deals. If someone were to make a deal with him from that statue point, I think he would come back. Yeah,
I agree. I'm going to remain skeptical, as I must.
We'll see if it actually happens, and if it does, we'll see what they do. But, I can always hope for the best, but...
Hope for the best and expect the worst.
I was going to say prepare for the worst, but that works well as well.
You're welcome. And now it's time for the diagnosis of the week,
where we relate things that happened during this week to a mental illness.
Because Hollywood is full of them, and you should be aware.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for this week.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is defensive attribution.
Please explain.
So defensive attribution is a psychological concept where individuals attribute causes of events, especially negative ones, to external factors rather than themselves to defend their self-esteem or self-concept. This bias serves as a defense mechanism to protect against feelings of guilt, inadequacy, or failure by shifting blame away from oneself and onto other people or situational factors.
In relation to today's topics, with Star Wars The Acolyte, the creators and, quote, new fans attribute the show's failure to external factors, while true fans recognize the inherent flaws in the series and how it fails to adhere to established lore in favor of pushing DEI.
With Venom: The Last Dance, the creators continue to push the Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man, despite declining box office numbers and a declining overall interest in superhero movies based on side characters.
And with the Gravity Falls revival, Disney's agenda-driven interference, despite the risk of financial loss, reflects a tendency to attribute threats to external forces rather than acknowledging the lack of creativity, highlighting a pattern of behavior within the industry.
And that's why we think this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I completely agree.